Evening. It's been a while since I've gone live. My name is Jeremy Deysach, and I am a FICO certified credit coach with Credilife Financial Wellness. I'm also the founder of the free credit repair advice group on Facebook, which has 70,000 members in it. And I'd like to welcome you all. If you're joining me live, awesome, welcome. And if you're watching this on a replay, awesome, welcome for my Wednesday night live. This is something I try to do every Wednesday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 o'clock Pacific time. And I broadcast to a couple platforms. I broadcast into the free credit repair advice group on Facebook. It's the original one with FICO certified credit pros. I also broadcast live onto our YouTube channel. If you have not been there yet, go there. It's Credit TV, CREDI TV, and make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe, you follow me. What I do every Wednesday night is what I'm doing tonight. I do a different topic on credit tips, credit tactics, things you can do to increase your score, to repair your credit, to get your credit score and credit profile maximized with the correct FICO compliant information and the real, the secret sauce, the recipe about what makes your credit work. And so I thought I'd start out my reboot, unlike taking a childhood beloved movie that we all loved and rebooting that. Instead, I'm just rebooting this Wednesday Night Live, and we're going to talk about how to raise your score, how to raise your credit score to the absolute maximum the fastest, because I know you guys are not looking to have this take forever. You're looking for quick results. You're definitely the same as me. I want things done. I want them done fast. I want them done right. I want them done the first time. So we're going to be talking about how to raise your score to the max with credit cards. Okay, so one thing, just a piece of housekeeping. If you've got any questions, go ahead and throw them in the comments section, and I will answer your questions live during my broadcast. And I will be going back. I'll be around all night and answering them. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching this later on in the free credit repair advice group, drop your question into the comments section, and I will personally answer your question with the correct compliant information. All right, so without further ado, we're looking to maximize our credit score. We are looking for the magic formula, the secret sauce. We're looking for the things that are going to make your credit report, you know, juice out the most points. I mean, who here, show of hands, or give me ones, or give me likes. Who here uses Credit Karma or Identity IQ or Experience, some kind of credit monitoring? Maybe it's through your credit card. Maybe your credit card gives you a free score. Maybe your bank does. How many of you look at your score periodically, and you're doing things and you're seeing it go up and it's going down, and you're wondering, hey, Jeremy, what can I do to raise my score to the maximum potential the fastest? So we're going to start out with one aspect of credit tonight, and that's credit cards. So a lot of people will go through life and not have credit cards. There are a lot of people, oh, I don't want credit cards. I don't want to be in debt. I want to be cash and carry. I pay cash for everything. I don't need to get myself in debt to get credit. And that's a huge misconception when it comes to credit cards, is that you need to get into serious debt to build credit with credit cards. Absolutely, positively untrue. Okay. I'm going to teach you a skill. In a moment, you're going to learn a tactic, a skill that is going to allow you to maximize your point potential using credit cards with a minimum amount of debt. I see Robin, I need to set up an appointment with you per my email I received from my account manager. Please and thank you, Robin. Go ahead and go to www. You'll actually see it scrolling across the bottom. www.bookcoachjeremy.com. And since you're currently with us, I'd like you to go ahead and click on the current clients, the coaching. That'll take you right to my calendar. and you can pick a day, a time that works for you. I'm live and die by that calendar, guys. I would be so disorganized without it. So, Robin, go ahead and do that. I look forward to talking to you. I should have pretty much next day availability for coaching calls for you. So, again, we're going to talk about how do we do this? How do we max our credit score using credit cards without getting into massive debt? You're welcome, Robin. Without getting into massive debt. All right. How many of you have credit cards? All right. How many of you have been told different things about your credit cards? People will tell you all kinds of different ways to use your credit cards to maximize your score. And I'm talking, you hear this from bankers and maybe your economics teacher, right? You might read something off Credit Karma, and you might be looking online. You might be in a credit group like the Free Credit Repair Advice Group on Facebook. Maybe you're talking to your realtor, your mortgage lender, your dad, your mom, Susie Flippin' Orman, your accountant, anybody. All of these people are out here, and they're saying, do this with your credit card, do that with your credit card. And what they are trying to do is tell you how to best use your credit card to max out your FICO score. And here's the problem. Most of the people I just mentioned, bankers, mortgage lenders, realtors, some of these economists, these people, they know how to read a credit report. They are pros. They are excellent at reading a credit report. Sadly, they don't know what actually creates the credit report. They don't know the secret recipe. They don't know what it is that actually causes your score to go up and down and how to maximize that. And I'm going to let you in a little secret. I, Jeremy Deysach, credit coach, do know. Why do I know? Because I'm FICO certified. I'm certified in the algorithm, the math formula, the secret recipe that makes your FICO score, your credit score. Well, Jeremy, what's a FICO score? A FICO score is a brand of score that's used by the banks to determine if they're going to lend to you. It's the most popular scoring model in the United States, so it's very, very important. Now, I'm FICO certified. I'm certified in what makes up that score. And I'm not going to sit here and brag anymore. I'm just simply going to tell you how to max your credit score, your FICO score, using credit cards. How many of you have heard, keep your credit cards under half? Give me some likes, give me some ones in chat, give me some, some feedback if you've heard. Make sure to keep your credit cards under half. How many of you have heard 30%? You want to use 30% of your credit cards. 30%. People love them some 30%. They love the number 30% when it comes to credit card advice. How many of you have heard 10%? You want to use 10% of your credit cards. How many of you have heard open your credit cards up, but don't use them, don't carry a balance? How many of you have heard it doesn't matter what you spend in a month, charge them up, pay them down, as long as you pay them before a certain date, it's not going to affect you. Now, what I'm going to say about all of those, if you've heard one of them, okay. If you've heard two or three, well, already you know it's not the correct answer, because there are not multiple correct answers in math. The FICO algorithm is that, it's math. The perfect utilization, the perfect balance to limit ratios on your credit cards are comically small. They are specifically 1% to 3% of the credit limit. 1 to 3%. 1% to 3%. That means a monthly spend, a monthly trended average daily balance, and a monthly reporting of 1% to 3% utilization, usage, spending on your credit card. Well, Jeremy, that's tiny. That's tiny. Let me explain. We're going to use an example of a credit card with a $500 limit. So Jeremy got a brand new shiny Visa card, and it's got a $500 spending limit. It's what's known as a revolving card, that Visa card. $500 limit. I can charge it up, I can pay it off, I can use it again. As long as I'm happy with the bank and the bank's happy with me, that can revolve forever. Now, my credit limit, that $500 card, that's the maximum amount of money that I am allowed to spend. That's how much they're offering me the ability to spend on that card. That is 100% usage, 100% utilization if I spend $500. Now, I told you if we want to maximize our FICO score, we want to maximize our credit score, we're not going to use 100%. We're not going to use 50, 30, or 10. We're not going to charge it up and pay it off each month, and it doesn't matter. We're not going to open it and not use it. We're going to use 1% to 3%, 1% to 3% of the limit. So that means a monthly spend, a monthly trended average daily balance, and a monthly payment of between $5 and $15. If our credit line is $500 on the Visa, 1% of $500 is $5. 2% of $500 is $10. 3% of $500 is $15. So 1 to 3% on a $500 limit card means a monthly spend and payment. I made a new word, payment. It's a payment. That's your spend and your payment. Payment. All right. So it's a monthly spend and a monthly payment of between $5 and $15. And using that zone, that region is going to max your point potential. It will give you the most points. Now, why? Okay, any less than 1% usage, that doesn't count as utilization. And the FICO algorithm, your credit score, needs activity to generate points. Okay, so less than 1%, it's not considered activity, and you need activity to generate points. More than 3%, you broke it. Why? Because number one, you didn't listen to the FICO certified professional credit coach with 29 years of credit and banking experience, who's worked with hundreds of thousands of different people through his career and is telling you this. That was so modest brag. Or a shameless brag, maybe. But any more than 3%, you broke it because you went outside the region that's trying, that's going to maximize your points. And we're trying to maximize your points. So if someone says, I don't want to get into debt, can you afford $5 in debt? Can you afford $10 in debt? Can you afford $15 in debt on a $500 limit card? Yes, you can. Okay. Now, so we know now the secret. We know that we want to spend between 1% and 3% on that card. We're using the example of that $500 limit credit card. So that's a monthly spend of $5 to $15. Now, how do we want to use this? Does this mean buy a pack of gum and pay it off? Well, it could, but I'm going to teach you a simple method that anyone can use to set up a 1% to 3% balance to limit ratio spend on a credit card that will maximize your point potential, cause you not to have to do any additional work, and it'll work like a credit machine for you. Okay. So in this example, we want to take something we're spending money on every month. How many of you have Hulu or Netflix? Maybe you have a reloadable Amazon card. Maybe you've got ABC Mouse for the kids. Some small monthly subscription, some small monthly recurring spend. Can you find one that's between $5 and $15? I know I can. I've got Spotify where I don't listen to commercials, and that's like $6.99. So we find in our budget that thing we're already spending money on. So you have to spend no additional money to maximize your point potential with credit cards. We find that small spend. We find that Netflix, that Hulu. We set up the billing for Netflix or Hulu, and we use that credit card that we're trying to use to max our point potential. So when Hulu bills, it'll go on that I use that example of a $500 Visa. It'll go on that $500 Visa. And then I'm going to set my checking account up to automatically pay that Visa card when it's due. Why am I doing that? Well, I'm doing it because number one, it'll never be late. It pays it when it's due. And number two, I'm inherently lazy, and I would rather not have to pay the bill and let it all happen electronically. All right, so every month starts off, bam, Hulu hits your Visa, and it keeps going, and then bam, your Visa gets paid off by checking. And next month, same thing, same thing. So here's what's happening. Boy, it sounds painfully simple, doesn't it? It's because it is painfully simple. But what's actually happening behind the scenes in your FICO algorithm is kind of complex. So the month starts off with that Visa card, and Hulu gets charged on the Visa. Bam, that's activity. You get credit score points for activity. Well, how much is the activity? Well, it's 1% to 3% of the credit limit. So how many points are you going to get for that activity? the maximum number in the FICO algorithm because you use between 1% and 3%. Now, that bill for Hulu, that money you just spent on Hulu, that's going to sit there and ride throughout the month until the Visa card gets paid, right? That creates something called a trended average daily balance. And you get points for a trended average daily balance. How many points are you going to get? I don't know. What's your trended average daily balance? Oh, I only put Hulu on the card. It's all I use it for. So it's 1% to 3%. So I'm going to get the maximum points off that trended average daily balance. And then when it's due date for that Visa card, swoop, in comes your checking and it pays the card when it's due. And that shows to the FICO algorithm the ability and willingness to repay in a timely fashion. And you get points for that. And then it happens again next month. Hulu, average daily balance payment. So activity, average daily balance payment, activity, average daily balance payment, month after month after month after month. It's a machine. That's points, 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 points. All you're doing is you're kicking back. You're watching television. You've set up this little credit machine with that credit card and setting your checking to auto pay for it. You use the card for nothing else. You don't have to go into debt to have great credit with credit cards as a tool. All you're doing is sitting back watching TV and you're maxing your FICO score point potential. Now, there is a blend of accounts that you're going to want. And I go into that in a lot of videos, but we're talking about credit cards and how to use them. So when it comes to credit cards, how many is too few? How many is too many? Okay. A rule of thumb when you're starting, if you're doing credit repair, you're starting off on new credit, or you're trying to hit a little bit of a reboot and reboot your credit and get it in really good shape, you typically want to have 2 revolving accounts. Those are bank credit cards: Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. Those are the big 4: Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. You want a minimum of 2 of those. And you want a maximum, realistically, of about 5. You'll hear gurus saying, I've got 74 and I've got an 809 score. Okay, you're not using 74 every month. Eventually they're going to close them on you. You're just showing off, right? In reasonable people terms, you want to have between 2 and 5 bank credit cards, all right? Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. And they can be varying limits. And as you have them longer and longer, those limits will increase as your credit does, okay? But with those cards, all 5 of them even, you want to make sure you set up one of those little automatic things I just talked about. Set Hulu on one, maybe set credit monitoring on one, maybe set your Spotify or Disney Plus on one. They all have a little monthly recurring spend, and you set your checking up to pay them when they're due. So they're little credit machines. Then what do you do with them? You don't use them, you set them aside, you let them build points on your score. There's one other kind of revolving credit card that exists, and that's a retail card, a store card. I suggest for a blend of accounts, and the FICO algorithm suggests for a blend of accounts, that you have a minimum of 1 retail card. Now you can have 2, 3, 4, 5 retail cards. That's fine. If you want that Kohl's cash at back to school time, if you want that Children's Place cash at back to school time, the discounts that you get, fantastic. That's great. Get them and use them. But right now we're talking about maxing our point potential. Okay. So those retail cards, that's another revolving card. But at its very raw core, to max your point potential in the FICO algorithm, we want those bank revolving credit cards, and we want to utilize 1% to 3% of that credit limit each and every month. Now, if you're currently carrying balances on your credit card, but Jeremy, I don't have a card with $0 on it. How do I pay it down? Work to pay it down, pay them down as fast as you can. Every improvement you make is going to help you. Obviously, 1% to 3% utilization is where you get the most points. 30% utilization, people love them some 30, is where you can get to, and it's no longer helping you and it's not hurting you. Okay. You're not getting really any points. You're not losing points. You're treading water at 30%. Anything over percent or over percent, everything over 30%, you're starting to cost yourself points off your score. And we're trying to maximize them. So, Jeremy, all my cards are maxed. I owe 100% all my cards. Well, let's pick one and begin paying it down with every extra dollar we can. And when you pay it down to 95%, that's better than 100. So it's not hurting you so bad. 90 better than 95, 85 better than 90, and so forth. By the time you get to 30, it's not hurting you anymore. And you just want to keep paying those down until you get to the 1 to 3. Now, if you're going, Jeremy, I got a balance, I'm getting a big paycheck or I'm getting a big bonus. Can I just pay it all off at once? Well, yes. And then you've created a clean canvas for yourself to go back and set up a credit machine. But if this makes sense to you, does this make sense? Let me know in the comments if this makes sense to you. Give me some likes if this makes sense to you. All right. That's what I wanted to talk about tonight. This is sort of short and sweet. This is a 20-minute video. I'm going to set this up on replay in the free credit repair advice group. And if you're watching it on Credit TV on YouTube, well, then you're watching it. You see it. Go ahead and like, follow, subscribe, because I'm going to be here every Wednesday night, whether you like it or not, at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific time with more credit tips, credit advice on different topics, and I'll be answering all of your credit questions live every Wednesday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific. Now, if you would like to have a professional, Jeremy, you're amazing, you're stunning, you're attractive, God, you know a lot about credit. All right, if you want to hire a pro to help you with your credit, if you're thinking, hey, maybe I should leave this to the pros. I don't have time to do it myself. I don't know where to start. Go ahead and schedule a no obligation, a no cost consultation. If you see what I'm pointing at, it's the scrolly thing on the bottom. Let's see, it says schedule a no obligation consultation with Coach Jeremy. Just go to www.bookcoachjeremy.com, www.bookcoachjeremy.com. That accesses my calendar, and from there, you can pick a day, an evening, even a weekend that works for you. And what we're going to do is a no obligation, no cost consultation. During the consultation, so you know what to expect, we'll talk about your goals. That's the first thing. I want to know what you're trying to achieve. We'll talk about your goals. We'll talk about your credit. And we'll put together a plan and steps and action items that'll get your score and profile in position for all your goals. Maybe it's repairing negatives from the past, disputing things. Maybe it's budgeting. Maybe it's how to maximize our score with cards and utilization. Maybe it's debt reduction or debt settlement strategies. I cover all of that. Then if there are any services that we have that are appropriate, I'll tell you about them. Otherwise, I had a gentleman today. We've been waiting to meet Gregory at 6 o'clock today. I sent him on his way because it wasn't time for him to start with that. We wanted to do some debt reduction strategies first. So I gave him some advice, sent him forth. And when it comes time to repair the credit, he's going to have another consultation with me and we'll end up doing some services. But for a no obligation consultation, talk about your goals, talk about your credit, put together a real plan, steps, action items, and if need be, get you into some services. Just go to www.bookcoachjeremy.com. No cost, no obligation consultation. All right. I'm here every Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. My name is Jeremy Deysach. I'm a FICO certified credit coach with Credilife. I thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.